What if X-Men was real? What would happen if a couple teenagers got powers for real? Would they become superheroes? Would they try to save the world, or would something drastically worse happen? Would some Brightburn level shit occur? Who knows? But we do get a glimpse of what would happen in the movie Chronicle. One of my favorite superpower related films of all time. Not only a superpower film that's not a superhero film, but I think this is better than most goddamn superhero films that we get nowadays. Period! My favorite superpower films have always been Split, Unbreakable. Okay? Those are like top two. I like Chronicle more than both of them. Don't sue me. Don't kill the messenger. That's just a personal taste of mine, alright? I believe this might be the most realistic superhero movie of all time that considers superpowers in it. Okay? 3 teenagers go underground in a cave where they discover something very interesting. An alien crystal structure that seems to impart on them some kind of alien radiation. Strange sounds, seizures, lights flickering, psychic interference. But after the exposure, they begin developing telekinetic abilities, starting with small object manipulation and eventually escalating to flight, force fields, and superhuman durability. Their powers grow with practice and emotional intensity, especially in Andrew's case. The crystal seems to have altered their brains neurologically, creating a psychic link between them. Now, when we talk about this film, I believe this is the film that popped Dane DeHaan off back in mid-2010s. This is the film that brought him to notoriety and made people say, yeah, Harry Osborn, y'all, let's bring him in. I think this still is my favorite role of Dane DeHaan's. He is great in this because he's a very disturbed, troubled man with an abusive father and a sick mother who's on her last legs. And he is the center point of this entire film. Michael B. Jordan, MBJ, and one of my favorite characters he's ever played. Basically, he's a popular guy. He's the student body president, the valedictorian, everyone knows him, but he's a cool, popular guy. He will even treat the nerds and the social outcast well, and he's got charisma for days. I love this guy. I love him. And then we got the cousin of Dane DeHaan in this, who is like the hero guy of the story. Not as interesting as the other two, in my opinion, but I still like him. All 3 of these guys are likable. And when they have powers, they use them how any people would. Would they go to a different country and stop a war the first day of getting powers? No. They're gonna fuck around at Walmart. Okay, they're gonna float teddy bears in front of little girls. They're gonna throw balls. They're gonna be assholes, okay? They're gonna move people's cars into different parking spaces. They're going to start flying, playing sky football before an airplane nearly kills them. This is realistic. These are just boys being boys, teenagers doing teenager shit. Now, this is a found footage movie. Is this just another found footage gimmick? Because found footage got really popular in the late 2000s, 2010s, all that shit. Is this just another gimmick? No. Well, I mean, yes, it is, but it does the found footage better than most found footage films do. Why? Because it's able to do things with a stylistic approach because of the telekinesis aspect. With their powers, they are able to levitate the camera and give us angles and shots that we wouldn't see in a found footage film. They get very creative with it, and it's very well done. I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie, y'all. I'm really sorry. I have to, because I need to talk about this movie in depth. We got to get to the ending, because you start to realize something when you're watching this movie with these 3 guys, happy-go-lucky, experimenting with the superpowers, but nobody suits up into a superhero costume. There are no villains, supervillains that get introduced. None of that shit. You see, this character, played by Dane DeHaan, Andrew, is very troubled. He is morally fractured because he's got an abusive dad who beats the living shit out of him and a mom who literally can't do shit. So he's in a hopeless doom environment all the time, and nobody knows the truth of it. And throughout the film, you're hoping that he gets some happiness, that he's able to escape this darkness within. You're hoping his friends could help him. In fact, you start to see red flags that you hope don't appear as often. Like a car beeping behind them, and Dane DeHaan flings it to a goddamn river, essentially. And honestly, if the 2 friends didn't stop the car and try to save that guy, if Dane DeHaan was alone here, he would have left and let that guy drown. First red flag. Terrible. You start to see the moral fracture of this character. The 3 characters talk about their aspirations at school, and the guy on the right, the cousin, I keep forgetting his name, he talks about how one day he might want to do charity for people. Maybe that's what he wants to do with his life. And Dane DeHaan's like, what? That's so lame. And Michael B. Jordan says, what's so lame about that? And Dane DeHaan has no answer. This shows something very interesting. Our main character is saying this. Dane DeHaan essentially is our main character. We're with him through the entire film. Our main character lacks empathy for people. That's the ultimate red flag, to show you this guy's a problem. He's the last guy who should have powers. He doesn't care about helping other people because he's so broken inside based on his upbringing that his personality has changed for the worst. And the one guy who could maybe help him, that could bring him from that abyss, Michael B. Jordan, the popular kid in school who could bring him notoriety, Michael B. Jordan says, hey bro, come to the talent show with me, let's show off your powers and we'll get it all on film and you'll be loved, bro. Everyone's gonna love you. And Dane DeHaan's like, no. But when they do the talent show, I thought some Carrie shit was about to happen here, but no. It works out. He's loved by people. He almost gets laid. Only problem is the chick who tries to get it on with him and give him a BJ, he vomits on top of her. And the insecurities and the inner darkness kick in. And he realizes he's too different from the rest of them. He doesn't want to feel the pain of rejection. So he will cut it off at the seams. He's a morally fractured individual. And it all culminates towards the third act where his abusive dad tries to fuck with him again and he beats the piss out of him. And then when he's up in the sky trying to be alone and Michael B. Jordan's trying to plead with him, yo, come down, bro, what's wrong? Dane DeHaan loses control and hits him with a goddamn lightning bolt. It's inferred that Dane DeHaan did it. Michael B. Jordan, my favorite character arguably in the whole freaking movie, dies. And then you start to realize this isn't a hero story, this is a fucking tragedy. And as a coping mechanism for what he just did, he moves away from the guilt of killing a friend and leans into the villain arc, being interested with this idea of being the apex predator. He's so much more powerful than all these people who fucking abused him and remained to him his whole life. Now he wants to see them as nothing, specks of dust to him. And it all culminates with his mom falling ill to the point of near death, and him having to just rob everyone for money so he can pay for her medication, robbing a gas station, which ends in a fucking explosion. And because of that, because he was unable to help his mom because he was literally in the hospital, his mom passes away. And my guy loses his shit, starts trying to kill everybody, leading to a freaking awesome fight with found footage that's done in the most creative way possible. And yes, as the CGI and the effects don't hold up, the green screen doesn't hold up, but my god, if it was made today, this would be sick. Actually, I don't know about that, because films today are obsessed with CGI. Trains are being flung into people. They're going through buildings. Bullets are flying in the air and caught. Literally, these characters it's like a Superman fight at one point. And Dane DeHaan's about to kill everybody. And his friend, his cousin, makes a decision to off him. Basically, mimicking what was foreshadowed in the beginning. Something being impaled through his chest. Really, really terrifying stuff. And when I first saw this scene, I fucking hated it because I felt so bad for Dane DeHaan's character the whole movie, and to see him get spiked like that, I was like, no, you couldn't have just knocked him out. It was the same thing with Man of Steel. You had to snap his neck. You had his back. You couldn't have just choked him out. But this ain't a Superman film. Dane DeHaan was a problem. He had to go. You knew from the moment he took that car and threw it into a river, you knew this guy was a problem. He had to go. Which is so tragic because I love his character and you feel so sad for him. And you never feel this kind of emotion in any superhero film nowadays. What a goddamn movie. Now, I only have one question. How strong were they? How strong would they have gotten if they kept going? Because one of them is alive at the end. How strong would they become? Durability, telepathy, flight strength, lightning powers that can control the weather too, maybe? Or would they get to Mark from Invincible's level? They aren't anywhere near that right now, because, Mark is mini Superman, essentially. But if they could use that radiation, more of it, harness and control to rewrite their own biology, because that's what the radiation did to them, and they could make themselves modified and stronger, that's a scary thought. Perhaps that radiation was used for space travel, building, genetic experiments by these aliens. You know how we use nuclear radiation for positive things, like medical imaging, therapy, food irradiation, industrial process, and energy production? Maybe this radiation was used for similar things by a different, highly advanced alien race. Radiation has adverse effects too. We can get poisoned by that shit. It's possible that under prolonged exposure to this radiation, anybody would die, even them. Or it would make them stronger and stronger and stronger and have the opposite effect of what nuclear radiation would have on us. And it might negatively affect everyone else around them who doesn't have the powers. Who knows? We might have gotten a hint of where this power level could go, this power skill could go, in the UNMADE sequel called Martyr. Through the eyes of a villainous female character. Martyr, I'm seeing conflicting things about what the story is about. Because in one aspect, I'm seeing Martyr would follow Matt, Matt would work with the government to try to save the world and learn more about that alien crystal artifact that gave him his powers. But during the middle of all that, two disturbed individuals are coming after him. Eventually, the two disturbed individuals create Iron Man-like combat suits to fight Matt, who becomes a proper superhero in the script. Okay, so that's one concept for the story I've heard. The other one is, it's all through the eyes of the female protagonist. I believe Matt and the other characters weren't even a factor, because I believe the director wanted to make a new story. Instead of continuing directly with the surviving characters, the sequel follows an entirely new female lead, a young woman who discovers the video diaries from the first one. She becomes obsessed with learning the truth about the powers they found. She gains powers of her own. Governments and media know about the existence of telekinetic humans now, and secret agencies are trying to find the source of the power. And the new protagonist, unlike Andrew from the first film, she's not corrupted. She uses her powers for good. However, good intentions put her directly at odds with the government forces and other emerging telekinetics who are made more violent and chaotic. She is designed to be an anti-Andrew. Andrew was unstable, bullied, and went power mad. Miranda was to be defiant but genuinely moral. Her story was meant to end in martyrdom to spark the rise of more power people in global conflict over telekinesis. I'm really fucking glad none of this happened. First of all, the Iron Man suits idea, I don't know how I feel about that. And the whole thing where we're not following any of the characters from the first. Now listen, two of them are dead, and we don't really need to follow Matt. Maybe his arc finished. But this seems a lot more like Avengers, X-Men-esque than a realistic story about what would happen if kids got powers, you know? It's moving away from what I liked about the first Chronicle, and it seems like they're trying to make a whole ass different film. I don't know how I feel about that. I just like the fact that Chronicle is as it is, a standalone masterpiece. I fucking love this film. Okay? MCU ain't shit! I don't mean to shit on the MCU, okay? I'm not trying to hop on that bandwagon, okay? I really like the Thunderbolts, okay? I loved it. I'm not someone who's trying to shit on the MCU, but movies don't feel like real like this anymore. Marvel and Disney can't cut it. I want to feel something again. And I think I can feel that with Chronicle. Alright? Those are my thoughts on that. If you want to know my thoughts on another movie that has a superpowered being going full-on corrupt, watch my video on Brightburn over here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.